Welcome to another Ujjayi meditation. I'm Esther, your host. And today we're going to tap into the topic of anxiety creating a sense of urgency in our lives and how it affects our process in general. So I invite you to take your first inhale here of the morning. And again, this is not your first inhale, but more of a intentional inhale in this space. Taking it in through the nose and allowing it to enter the body, but notice where your mind is and see if your mind can also travel into the body's sensations here. And then exhale softly. Notice where you're at, if you can make yourself more comfortable as we get situated. Taking another inhale here. As you get to the top of this inhale, pause and inhale some more. Notice if there is more room for breath. Pause again and inhale again if there is room. And then softly exhale. The reason we do this is because our mind kind of is a muscle. Everything becomes a pattern. So it's like if you take shorter steps or you skip steps, when you walk, it becomes habit. So with breath, when we spend a lot of time working at a fast pace, we start taking shorter breaths where our mind thinks that we only have a certain amount of space. But when we pause at the top of that inhale, relax and take another inhale rather than inhaling and exhaling in that short amount of space, you will begin to notice that you have so much more room available to you within your body to expand. And there is this thing of expanding the lungs, but there is already space available to you when we just pause and relax. So we're going to invite you in for another inhale here. Inhaling through the nose, filling the space within, noticing where your sensations are, pausing at the top of that breath and asking yourself if there's any more room. So trying to inhale some more, pausing, and then inhaling again here. Until you're completely full, your abdomen should expand, your chest should expand. Notice if there's any tension that arises or anxiety, which is completely okay, and then softly begin to exhale. So that form of breath is available to you at all times throughout this process. As we enter this meditation, so what I want you to do here is we are going to commit to some stillness if that's available. So just notice how you're sitting or laying, or even the movement. If you're busy moving, notice if you can allow yourself to move just a little bit slower. And just ask yourself this one question. Am I comfortable? Is there any way I can support myself some more? That means propping a cushion behind you, leaning back. If you're standing on your feet, it could be removing your shoes or putting on some comfortable footwear. So as we allow our body to begin to slow down here, the mind begins to race. We are so much more aware of the amount of things that have to happen. And depending on where you are in the world, it's a different time zone. So it's a different time of day. It could be that you got some stuff done or not as many as you would like. But the thing that keeps on happening is the mind keeps on creating these lists of things that have to get done. When we take a moment to sit here in this stillness and commit to this stillness, the mind begins to follow, right? Because what happens is either we're going to follow the mind, our body will follow the mind, or the mind can follow the body. And everything's always a balance. But when we sit in this kind of guided meditation, what we're allowing ourselves to do is allow the body to be the focal point. We're allowing our mind to connect with our body rather than create this sense of annoyance where the mind wants to go is being crippled by how slow the body goes, or by any kind of disability that we would talk ourselves into. So there is the reality of our structure. Each of us are built differently. Some people are skinnier, some people are heavier, some people are shorter, and some people are taller. And we have this array of health and wellness of where we are in this in the spectrum. The beauty when we enter from a more cosmic space of understanding that there is a creator to the universe, we don't need to be anybody but who we are. So when we accept that fact, we can begin to build trust that we don't have to step outside of our limitations. We can surrender to the pace that is available to you. Something that I find always funny, especially with boys. So driving, for any of you that have experienced this, boys will always complain, especially the young ones. I know when they're transitioning into manhood, when they start complaining about how slow women drive. They're like, Ma, can you just, add, just push on the gas. Like, everybody, all the men drive so much faster than you. And it's not a sense of, women driving, not knowing how to drive faster. As a woman, I've been driving for so many years. I know how to drive fast. But the way my brain works is I like to be more careful. So naturally, it doesn't mean that I'm a safer driver. It just means that for the makeup of who I am, I need to move at just a little bit of a slower pace, which can feel like an annoyance to somebody that wants to get somewhere really, really quickly. So noticing that adding that speed would add a sense of urgency and add anxiety. If I'm driving day to day, I can step out of that space and notice that I perform better when my body is in a calmer environment. So it's beginning to build trust. So just take another inhale here and just ask yourself, just check in with the trust. How much do you trust your body? Notice the sensations that arise rather than the thoughts. Notice the sensations. Notice the support that your body gives you on a day-to-day. And if you're ever wondering if you will complete today and complete the week, just look back and notice the timeline of the years that you have accomplished and the things that you managed to get done at the pace that you need to go. For the ones of us that have struggled with trauma or high amounts of stress, there is sometimes a shift of a support system where we're having to do the work of 2 or 5 people. And the muscle that we build is that the amount of effort that has to be added to the daily life is so almost extreme or exhausting that we push ourselves into a space where we expect so much, or our mind expects so much from us, that it's really, really taxing on the body. And sometimes when we experience this, the radar of functionality has been skewed because of the intensity of the experiences. So over the years, I've had to learn to remove some of that stress by understanding that the barometer I've been using is to measure how much that has to get done in a day was coming from the projection of the magnitude of events that have fallen in my lap. So then how do we move through that? What do we do with the anxiety that ends up accompanying us unsupportively throughout the day? So this is where I bring the creator into this. When we understand that there is a creator, when we understand that our body is here to assist us, and we begin to include our body into the day-to-day experiences, and we begin to listen, we can begin to lower the expectation just a little bit. So one of the greatest ways to do this is, as you sit still in this experience, asking yourself, wherever you are in your day, what really has to get done today? When you have a sense of calm available to you, and you ask yourself, in this calm experience, what actually has to get done today? And you begin to plan your day from that space. From the perspective of being supported and the anxiety engine not being turned up to 11 yet. This is where planning and preparation comes in, where you're able to really have a perspective of what exactly has to be done. If tomorrow wasn't a thing, if today was just today, if it's eating, if it's a little bit of exercise, if it's some laundry, if it's work, if it's health, when there is this sense of anxiety and this suppression of urgency, what ends up happening is we add so many more things to the list because our mind is working faster than the body. The body can actually go, where we then perceive the body as a crutch, where we want to then be superhuman rather than really enter the human experience. So something simple that I do is I will come up with the most important things that have to be done, and I will make a list at the beginning of my day. And then I will look at that list and I will say to myself, what actually has to get done? Like, what is the most demanding? And then I have all the other things that I would like to be done, right? And that is, let's say, something like organizing cupboards, losing weight, commitments with friends, more business stuff, a lot of other elements that are extras. And when I begin my day, once I have that priority of what my priorities actually are, like what is the necessity? The necessity is that I need to sit and eat a meal today. I need to make sure that the clothes I'm wearing is supportive. I'm wearing supportive footwear. I need to talk to these people, whoever those people are. Does that have to happen today? Or will the anxiety of having to speak to that person throw my whole day off and create resistance or fatigue? So noticing what has to be done, as in, if there's a day where you need more emotional energy or more physical energy, it's important to make sure that you balance out the energy to where you really are aware of how your energy is spent. And this happens as we get more in touch with our body. So again, I can give you examples from my own life. I pour deodorant for Ujjayi. It's a very manual skill. There's a lot of lifting boxes. There's a lot of pouring involved. It's very, very physical. On days like that I know that I have to pour a batch of deodorant, I know that I don't go to the gym, because I usually will get a workout by making product in itself. And that in itself is a workout. Depending on how many hours or how many I have to do, I will make sure that I buy myself a meal, even though it's cheaper done. What are the things that are not necessarily so urgent? And then as you step into your day and the pace begins to speed up, and then certain things are added to the list, as the speed is faster, you can always come back to your original checklist and be like, is that realistic, or is that the anxiety that's showing up with the sense of urgency that other things must get done? So when we've spent some time building the foundation of structure, of knowing what exactly has to be done, when that sense of urgency does show up, like a child that says, I want it now, or I'm bored, or all the other things that we have to do it now, we can pause for a moment and know that is that sense of urgency might have just been birthed from anxiety that might have shown up while we were doing one of the tasks that actually had to be done. And through that, we're able to create this trust within, building a sense of calm, and really being able to focus on getting stuff done. So inhale here again. Invite yourselves into your body. Notice where you are in comparison to where you've began. And I always say, just notice where you are. The whole world will wait. All you need to do is slow down. And I promise you, all the tasks that actually have to be done will be waiting for you. So just notice where you are in your reality. And if this sense of support can accompany you throughout the day, and ask yourselves really, what actually has to get done for today? What will be supportive to creating better performance in the tasks that I need to accomplish? Because so much of the resistance or depression or the unnecessary worry that shows up throughout our day is usually connected to a lot of unnecessary tasks that might not have to happen today. And just like we need to eat today, and every day we can't eat today for a week's time, when we start connecting to our energy and understanding how to distribute our energy correctly, we can actually feel the sense of satisfaction and not feel the hunger of next week in today, because that pit can be so deep. Something really powerful from last week's Parsha was that it says that, I hope I'm saying this correctly. I'm going to have to check, but Moshe went back to Yisro, and Yisro gave him lechem. And I heard this from Rav Mutzafi. He says Moshe remarried his wife, and the lechem he got, lechem is bread, but bread is also translated into sustenance. And when we think about the ultimate sustenance, it's broken up into three parts, which is, it's a physical, emotional, right, and spiritual, which is Moshe, he actually gave him bread. He got married, and lechem is also connected to like intimacy, like the satisfaction that comes with intimacy and connection there. And he housed him, right? So it's like he actually gave him the full three components. When we think about Shabbos and the ultimate goal of the week, but not only the week, but what we're trying to complete in this world, it's a three-part prong where we want to feel satisfaction in a connection with a partner, a connection with our Creator, and then you want to feel physically full as well through the bread that we eat. So just noticing in your life, what is creating ultimate satisfaction? What is real satisfaction? And as I heard Paul Chek say, it's what's creating bubblegum for the mind. Really noticing, where are we putting in our efforts, and are they actually creating the sense of fullness within? So when we enter our day, and this is any part of the day, it doesn't have to be the morning, but when we enter with a sense of mindfulness, or with this ultimate goal of, I'm here to create a sense of satisfaction within, this sense of fulfillment that is a 3-part prong, where it's spiritual and emotional and physical. It's not just having these things, but connecting to them and making sure that they are productive in our life. And a really powerful thing is, if you look nowadays at even food, right? So many of us are so sensitive to so many ingredients, where for some of us, bread can't even be eaten, as in we struggle with digestion. So rather than it being at this point about the lack of abundance, it's the challenge to digest the experience. So it's always putting in a prayer that we should all be in a space where we can feel actual fulfillment. By lowering this anxiety, by knowing what the focal point at the beginning of the day is, or wherever you are in the day, by creating this sense of calm within, we're able to have an opportunity to step into ultimate sustenance and connection, which is what we're here for. So thank you so much for joining us in this experience. Thank you for your commitment to this discovery of who you are. I'm Esther, your host, and I look forward to tomorrow. Thanks for joining.